Never trust a man with an android, you green bubble mother. Hello everyone, I'm author R.L. Raintree. This is Reels and Reads, where I give honest reviews and occasional spoilers. Today I am reviewing You're Dating a Narcissist, starring Marisa Tomei. But before we get into the review, I would very much like it if you would give me a like and a subscribe and share this video with others so that I can get access to more films like these. You're Dating a Narcissist is a 2026 rom-com, again starring Marisa Tomei. And the general premise of this film is that Marisa Tomei plays Judy, who is, I'm sorry, I'm kind of blanking out a little bit because Judy is also my mom's name. But she plays a professor who uses her own novel as the required text for the course. A novel about understanding a narcissist, detecting a narcissist, and how to avoid them, how to deal with them, basically how to survive them. And how does she come to know this well enough to write such a novel? Well, she was married to one, and that happens to be her daughter Eva's father. So she's taken everything that she's learned from her marriage, her failed marriage, her child's father, and has made a living out of it. Not only just, writing a book about it, but teaching a course in it. And everyone in it seems to be locked in. So evidently she knows what she's talking about. But that's part of the comedy of this because she overdoes it. I don't think this woman has ever met a man that has earned her trust, and I don't think she's ever met a man that was not a narcissist. Now, she has a best friend named Diane, who we call Di, who is right in the middle of a terrible breakup because Di's girlfriend actually is a narcissist. Like, I didn't need Judy to tell us that her friend's girlfriend was a narcissist because the complaint that Di has is that the girl she's dating was married, didn't tell her she was married, and she finds out when the girlfriend is fighting the divorce that she's married. So naturally, she has a right to be upset. And despite this fact, the girlfriend is still trying to get Di back. Like, girl, yeah, the women are narcissists too. And as Judy tells us in the film, they tend to be the worst because they're more covert. Now, it starts off with Judy trying to get Diane, I'm going to call her Diane. Di sounds weird. She's trying to get Diane to let go of her ex-girlfriend. She cannot pick up the phone. She's supposed to block her. She's supposed to gray rock theory this person. And so she's there. She's the bestie that we need when we all keep going back to that toxic ex. But this is interrupted at a crucial moment where Diane really needs someone to keep their foot on her neck. Her daughter, Eva, decides to call and say, "Surprise, Mom. I'm engaged to a man I've only known for 6 weeks." Red flags everywhere, y'all. Red flags everywhere. And Judy pretty much loses her shit. To be fair, she wasn't all the way there with this whole narcissistic thing. Like, she's obsessed with labeling men narcissists and finding the signs. If the way you meet is a fairy tale, oh, that's what they do. That's narcissism. If they're a second or a third or a fifth, oh, that's narcissism. That's going to be an unhealthy relationship. There isn't a single positive thing that Eva could say about her fiance that doesn't sound like narcissism. It's out of control, to be honest, the way she's freaking out over everything. But if you're a mother, an aunt, a godmother, a guardian, then you're probably going to understand what it's like to have your baby girl who's college age, growing up and meeting the person they love. Nobody's good enough for your baby girl, whether you're obsessed with narcissism or not. What I really liked about this film is Marisa Tomei's performance. I felt her frustration. I felt her fear because, to be fair, the things that she was concerned about with the fiance were definitely red flags. He had alternate cell phones. He was still in touch with his ex. I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but he's doing things like, we'll say, grand gestures, okay? He is ticking off all the narcissist boxes. And so Marissa Tomei's portrayal of Judy as unhinged, desperate, just climbing the walls, trying to stop her daughter from ruining her life the way she feels she ruined her own life. I kind of felt that sense of urgency because of the way she played the character. Like, I'm thinking, girl, I don't know, you look crazy, but I think you might be right with this one. I found myself talking to the movie going, girl, no, because you don't hug your ex like that. How come he didn't introduce you? How come he didn't say it? There is one scene where Judy figures out that he is still in contact with his ex. Actually, what she finds out is that he had been engaged before, because she was scrolling through all his socials, like all the way back to his first post in high school. And of course, Eva was like, "That's weird. Wait, I didn't know he was engaged." So she's at the hospital where he works because he's a doctor. Judy says that's also a sign of narcissism. And she says, "Well, why didn't you tell me you were engaged before?" And he goes, "I did tell you." "No, no, I did. You just don't remember." And at that point, I was like, you know what? Crazy people only need to be right once. A broken clock is right twice a day. And this is one of them times a day where Judy is going to be right. Because everything about that scene gave, "No, you didn't tell her. You're gaslighting." And I remember shouting, "He's gaslighting. You're right. Oh my God, you're right." So many times I was looking at Judy like, "Girl, you're doing too much. You're neurotic as hell. You're obsessed with narcissism. I don't think you've healed from your trauma. And I think you need to get into some therapy instead of making your daughter's life your business." But then something would happen and I'd be like, "I don't know, Judy, you might be right. You might be right. Go get your baby. Go get your baby. Go get your baby." But there comes a point where it's out of control. And Marissa Tomei's slow descent into madness over her daughter, the being convinced that this man is horrible, not wanting to face that she hasn't recovered from her own trauma, all the while romance is staring her in the face, breathing its hot breath on her, and she's just not trying to hear it because she hasn't healed from her own trauma. The other thing I liked about this film was Diane. She is freaking hilarious, okay? She seems like the coolest person, the most fun you ever want to know. When she's mad, she goes nuclear. She is down to hide in the bushes with you at night to find out if he's cheating. She's willing to try to sneak the phone away so she could break into it and tell you whether or not he's up to no good. Like, but at the same time, though, Diane is the kind of character that's like, "Girl, you might be doing too much. I love you. Okay. We're always going to be besties, but you're a little much." Like, she tried to give Judy some room to freak out. And then when her crash outs were valid, Diane was like, "What are we doing? We're going to blow the house up? Like, what are we doing?" But then also Diane was like, "It's a bit much, bestie. It's a bit much." So one of the things I like about her character is that she's the friend that we all want, but nobody freaking deserves. Now let's go to the thing that I didn't like. There was very little that I didn't like about this film. It has nothing to do with the execution. It has nothing to do with the writing. It didn't kill the experience for me. But what it did do is make me wonder if the movie would have been better if they changed the way it was done. So I'm not going to spoil it for you, but I'm going to get right up to that line. So if you want to go into it fresh, now would be a good time to stop watching this video and just skip to the rating. So the ending is definitely a shocker. At some point in the film, I'm like, "Oh, I know how this is going to end. I know how this is going to end." And then I realized I was dead wrong. But then I realized, wait, was I right? And that's all I'm going to say so that I don't spoil it for you. So the ending is definitely a shocker, but I can't help feeling like other lessons should have been learned for the mother, for Judy. I feel like, gosh, this is so hard to talk about without spoiling the ending. I feel like Judy needed to learn a lesson. I feel like I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted Judy to be right or wrong. I didn't like that I wasn't sure if I was happy about the ending. And I realized that as an author, if I were the person responsible for writing this screenplay, I would have been stuck. This movie wouldn't have been made because I wouldn't have known what ending to choose. And just to say, there are three possible endings, and this won't spoil it for you. The mother can be right, that the fiance is a narcissist. The mother could be wrong, and he can be perfect. Or we may never find out if the fiance is a narcissist or not, and the mom just needs to focus on her own life. One of those happens and the other two does not. And as I said, I'm not entirely sure that I'm okay with the ending or not. I really don't know. So for that reason, I'm going to give this 4.5 stars. This is definitely a movie you need to watch with your daughter, your niece, your goddaughter, your foster child. This is definitely a mommy-daughter film. I will say that they really should have pushed this release date to Mother's Day weekend. Guaranteed it would do much better numbers. Anyways, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on that bell for notifications.